As you know, President Trump tweeted that you and your fellow, not you specifically, but Republican senators are totally quitters if you don't repeal and replace Obamacare. He's also tweeted that he wants the Republican Senate to vote on nothing else until it makes good on the health care promise. Is this a good idea to vote again on this bill that has already collapsed?
Good morning, Jake. Well, the bottom line is Obamacare markets are collapsing across the nation. Insurers are deciding to pull out of the market. So from my standpoint, we do need to stabilize those markets, and the issue is not going away. You know, I continue to have discussions with governors and House members and other senators in terms of what is the path moving forward. So this issue isn't going away in terms of exactly, what the order of legislation. I really do think we probably ought to turn our attention to the debt ceiling and funding the government and tax cuts until we can really get all the parties together. And from my standpoint, that really is getting the governors, House members, senators in the White House on the same page in terms of health care.
The president has been very critical about the fact that you and your Senate colleagues just started a month-long break after wrapping up a governance period that's been called historically unproductive. Obamacare untouched, as you noted. Taxes have not been cut. The border wall remains unbuilt. What do you say to voters, many of them in your own party, who look at the record and think that the Republican Party has failed to deliver?
Well, my preference would have been to stay in session to, grapple with those issues I was talking about. But at the same time, getting back in the state and talking to constituents. On Friday, I traveled with Agriculture Secretary Perdue and had some, really informative discussions with farmers and agriculture interests in the state. So, we're not on vacation. We really are working. And again, I continue discussions on health care as well as taxes with my colleagues, even though we're not in Washington, D.C.
Let's talk about these farmers, because President Trump is throwing his weight behind legislation that would cut legal immigration in half over the next decade. You have noted that dairy farmers in the great state of Wisconsin rely on immigrant workers. As currently written, would you vote no on this immigration bill?
Well, what I'm hoping is, the bill that Senators Perdue and Cotton introduced, possibly combined with my own guest worker visa program managed by the states, combined with what Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin are doing, will start a serious discussion in terms of what we need to do in terms of fixing our incredibly broken legal immigration system. But, Jake, if you take a look at the facts, on average, we've been admitting about 1 million people with legal residencies. In 2015, where we had the best data, 65% of those were based on family relationships. 21% were diversity, refugees, asylees, and others. Only 14% had anything to do with work. Now, there are literally hundreds of millions of people that want to come into America to seek the opportunity that only America really offers. We should be selective. We should target those individuals that can come here on a merit-based system and add to our economy. Cotton and Perdue are still maintaining the spousal and minor children priority. So again, let's have an honest conversation about this. Let's try and get the demagoguery out of it and recognize that our number one goal should be how do we grow our economy, because we've got to grow our economy so we can reduce our debt and deficits. We have the resources to build our military so we can address all these serious threats facing America.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers is pushing legislation now to try to protect Special Counsel Bob Mueller from potentially being fired by President Trump. It's being offered by Chris Coons and Thom Tillis, your Republican colleague from North Carolina. If this bill would come to a vote, would you vote yes or no?
That's hypothetical. I don't see that Bob Mueller is going to be fired, but I also was pretty vocal saying that I would have preferred the congressional committees, the House and Senate Intel committees, finish their work, issue their report before we even begin thinking about a special counsel. Let's face it, the history of special counsel, special prosecutors, sometimes they go off the rails, they start going on witch hunts, and we have enormous challenges facing this nation. We really don't need that kind of distraction.
All right, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, appreciate it, sir. Hope you have a good district work period.
Have a great day.